began with the system, and I volunteered, and we've been in the hospitals, and believe me, it was a disaster in the beginning. All the system was his system, and everything was down when he was down. So there's and a lot of brave doctors who get control in the hospitals, taking care of the patients and the victims, and giving support for the whole Libyan families and the whole Libyan people.
As far as you're aware, have the military units in Benghazi now joined the protesters?
Yes, they did, and we received a lot of bodies from them, a lot of victims, a lot of deaths from them. God bless their souls. I mean, they are truly Libyans.
They gave you a number of the victims. Are these military victims, or are they the protesters?
Both. We had both victims from both sides, the ministries and the civilians too.
I wonder if you could bring us up to date, though, then, with the number of casualties, if it's possible to estimate them. And
As I told you before, because we don't have a system right now that taking care that can give you the exact number, but I can give you like something. It's more than 300. It's more definitely than 300 deaths among our people since the beginning of the revolution over here.
And do you have the ability to cope with these casualties? We also heard that many of the wounds were from very heavy weaponry. Can you confirm that? Has there been any explanation from the military?
We never had experience about that before. So I guess most of the doctors just used their guts and did it. You know what I mean? We had no equipment. We had no planning before. Everybody stepped out and just did what he has to do. That's what's going on around here. Every single doctor, he's in the hospitals. You can see scout leaders, scout girls. You can see what they call it, the Red Crescent over there. You can see even the casualty of the people coming, bringing supplies, bringing medication, whatever the hospital needs, and they will go back and fight and come and send some other people to help us too.
The latest from a doctor in Benghazi there. Well, let's now take a look at the address by Saif al-Islam Gaddafi made as those protests continued.
The
leader Muammar Gaddafi is leading the battle, and we are with him. The armed forces are with him, and tens of thousands are coming to Tripoli in his support. We will not give up Libya. We will fight until the last man, woman, until the last bit of energy. We will not leave it. We will not leave our country to let AlJazeera laugh at us, Al-Arabiya or the BBC or any traitors who live abroad and laugh at us here in Libya. We will not allow that. Thousands of our people all over Libya are happy and ready to sacrifice for Libya with high morale, and I'm saying, our Libyan brothers, we are with you and we will not let you down. We will live and die in Libya. Libya did not leave it for the Italians or Turk, and we will not leave it for some thugs. Our morals are high, and may God make Libya a safe country, and may God be with you. We start a new system that we will agree on it. We will tomorrow create a new Libya, Libya of tomorrow, the Libya we all dream of. Otherwise, you be ready, Libyans, that we will be entering into confrontations, and that we will be fighting each other, and we'll be divided. Forget about the oil, forget about the gas, forget about, we will go into disarray, we will go into chaos. This is like what's happening in Berga and will happen in all of Libya. Your children, forget about looking after their education and health.
Saif al-Islam Gaddafi speaking there. Well, let's join on the phone now a gentleman called Sami. He's been at Green Square in Tripoli. Joins me on the phone now. Thanks for joining us on Al Jazeera, sir. What were you doing at the square? What did you see?
Well, we couldn't, well, good morning to you as well. We couldn't get too close to the Green Square for safety reasons. But however, from a distance, we were able to. The reason we were there because we wanted to know what would be the reaction after the speech given by Saif al-Islam.
So what sort of presence are you seeing there of either pro-Gaddafi supporters or military or protesters?
Well, this was about 3:30. Approximately about an hour and a half ago. What has happened is that there was no presence of the military or the army. It was actually the missionaries or the thugs, African thugs, that were shipped in or flown into Libya over the past 4 days. They were heavily armed. What I understand is that they were using anti-aircraft weapons, and there were some explosions that we heard, so we assumed that they had bombs as well, because the protesters don't have access to bombs or did not have access to bombs in Tripoli. And
again, this is again only what you're hearing and not what you've seen. So how close did you get to the square?
Well, it was bright enough in Tripoli. We got close enough to. We didn't witness the massive numbers of dead people. However, we had some of the retreats from the protesters coming back and giving us the feedback that there were a huge number of dead on the square.
And what's the reaction then been to being able to get the injured at least to hospital? Were emergency services able to get anywhere near the scene to help?
Nobody was able to get there because the reason why it started out with the Saif al-Islam speech, and Tripoli was completely quiet throughout the speech. There was a moment of, or approximately about half an hour to 45-minute celebrations prior to the speech. And what has happened, as soon as the speech started, everybody had gone back home or tried to reach a television to watch the speech. Afterwards, there were pro-regime rallies, cars driving throughout Tripoli, chanting for Gaddafi and the regime. And then approximately at about 2 a.m., the shooting started. So the hospitals, I don't believe, were anticipating that anything would happen tonight. I'm not sure what the situation is in hospitals, but I'm sure tomorrow we will be burying our dead. And the hospitals will be very busy, and I'm sure a lot of numbers, because a lot of vehicles were zooming by, trying to collect as many of the injured, but nobody was able to get close enough. It was right in the Green Square. If you have a photo of the Green Square, you can see it's quite vast. And however, it was completely lit up and controlled from the missionaries. There was a huge number of missionaries. I could say at least there was in excess of 1,000 there fighting the protest.